if all turkey hunters out there in the world understood these 5 eastern wild turkey traits or behaviors that I'm going to share with you in this episode, they would be much better at hunting turkey, much better at going out there and putting their tag on the mature tom turkey and gobblers. The first eastern wild turkey trait that I want to share with all of you has to do with their hearing. Wild turkey's hearing is phenomenal. It's exceptional. Their ears aren't anything like humans or deers or any other animal or bird out there. Where they have like an opening right here, like here, and one they're offset a little bit. They might have an opening here. There's little openings on the side of their head. And the biology behind all that, like their physiology and biology behind their ears being stationed, positioned where they are, and their ear canals and all their nerve endings and stuff, and just their body's physiology having to do with their hearing. It's set up in such that they can turn their heads slightly, slice a bit, bob their heads, and like pinpoint the exact spot where that sound they heard came from. And on a bluebird day, low wind, like right now, there's no winds, like 2 mile per hour wind. And I can hear a long ways away myself. Wild turkeys can hear one another talking, like doing that really soft clucking and purring. They can hear that upwards of a mile away on a nice calm day. So like humans can hear a yelping hen a long way, almost nearly a mile away on a ridge. Like if I'm standing here on this high knoll and I hear on this calm day, I could hear a hen yelping probably almost a mile away on a ridge over there. And they can hear that far as well. They have exceptional hearing. But the difference between a turkey's hearing and a human's hearing is, like, we might hear that hen yelp or hear that gobble, but we can't really hone in on the exact position that turkey called from like they can. A gobbler could hear a hen yelping upwards of a mile away on a nice calm day, and within an hour's time from where he was standing when he heard that hen yelp, he could be over there and within several feet of where that hen was standing an hour earlier yelping. Their hearing is that good. It's just phenomenal. It's incredible. So a hunter, understanding the way turkey hear, how they use their hearing, and just how exceptionally well their hearing is, can use that knowledge to their benefit, to their, when going out there, try to call in a gobbler. Just knowing that gobbler's hearing is that exceptional, a hunter does not need to overcall, does not need to call too loudly. Covert calling. I don't know if you know the podcast, the Southern Outdoorsman podcast, but these guys are great to listen to. I recommend you go check out the Southern Outdoorsman podcast. They have awesome guests on the show, and their guests and themselves are constantly talking about covert calling. This covert calling is just where, like a hen feeding, kind of content hen, hen's all content, around there, they're just lightly calling it. The hens, covert calling is where, like, they're just calling super softly. And for the most part, a human won't necessarily hear those calls unless that turkey's within like 100 yards of them. I've heard hens many times. Hens and gobblers alike, they all do this covert calling, if you will. So now a hunter, fully understanding the physiology behind like a turkey's hearing and just how exceptional a wild turkey's hearing is, can use this in a bag of tricks for when going out to call one in. A hunter needs to understand they don't need to overcall. They don't need to call too loudly. The calling softly is adequate enough. Because the turkey, if you're nearby a gobbler, he's not far away, that soft covert calling is all you need to do. And, when within a half hour, hour time. Be patient, sit there, wait it out. Within an hour or two, there could be one coming in silently. You might hear the drumming and dragging of the wingtips, and you might not gobble at all coming in. He could come in completely silent. All right, the second eastern wild turkey trait that I want to mention, talk about briefly, is their eyesight. A turkey's eyesight is exceptional. They can see in all wavelengths of colors. They can see in all the full color spectrum. They can see colors that we pretty much can't pick up very well. Their eyes are that phenomenally well. The turkey's eyesight is so good that if you research this, listen to a lot of turkey hunting podcasts, like the Southern Outdoorsman's podcasts, things such like that, or read a lot on turkey hunting, and turkey biology and traits, turkey behavior and stuff. You'll learn, like I did in doing my research, that a wild gobbler, tom turkey that you're hunting, calling to, he could see the twitch of your finger. He could see the blinking of my glasses are transitional. It helped. That gobbler out there, like 100 yards away, could see the twitch of your finger. Or he could see the blinking and the whites of your eyes as you blink. They could pick up subtle little movements and things like that good, that sharply. But also they see all colors, or the whole full spectrum array of colors out there. So another thing with the wild turkey's eyesight, not only can they see the full color spectrum, all colors that exist, you got to think UV, the UV brighteners. Like pretty much every article of clothing that a human ever buys, the threads and stuff, and they usually have UV brighteners. They're usually pretty sparkly and shiny and bright, our clothing. The turkey pick up that UV, the sparkly, bright UV colors that we can't. Like humans' eyes can't pick that up. And now also white-tailed deer are the same way. The white-tailed deer can't see the full color spectrum that turkey can. Deer are like seeing like shades of blues and grays and whites. Deer can see blues very well, grays, whites, things like that. But the turkey see all colors. But also deer and turkey alike can pick up the UV colors. That really bright, shiny, sparkly and UV brighteners and stuff in the clothing. That picks off hunters. That busts hunters time and time again, year after year. Our gear that we have, like our backpack or our turkey vest, shirt or pants we're wearing, a hat, the UV brighteners and coloring in that hat, shirt, pants stands out like a freaking light, like a beacon to them turkey and deer. And that busts hunters more than anything, I believe. So their eyesight, the ability to see, is that phenomenal, that exceptional. So a turkey hunter taking this into their bag of tricks with them in the spring, going hunting, knowing how well they hear, how well they can see, they can use that to their advantage, their knowledge, to become that much better, so that the hunter can better hide himself, better camouflage himself. Wash all your clothing and gear and soaps that wash away all them UV brighteners and UV colors in your gear, so you can get rid of that. So your colors, all your clothing and gear is more drab and dab, so it's more earth tone and blends in better to your surroundings. So a hunter knowing how well a turkey hears and sees will allow them to go into their setups. I don't know if you know this, but I'm sure you've heard from listening to podcasts and reading about turkey hunting that time and time again, setup is key. And to being consistent, consistently putting your tag on mature gobbler, mature tom, setup is almost everything when it comes to hunting them turkeys. Because you need to be able to be well hidden, be extremely still and quiet, and you gotta be comfortable. You gotta have a good vantage point. You want to be able to have ample shooting lanes and to be well hidden and stuff, and not giving yourself away by sound and movements. So setup is everything, and how you go about hiding and positioning yourself in the edge of the woods and such. So back here we've got some hardwood, some oaks. So you want to have a camouflage pattern. All your coloring on your outfit and your gear has to match your surroundings, your environment. You want to be able to blend in, kind of just disappear into the woods where you set up. And you want to be well hidden in the dark shadows. Don't be set up out in the sun. Don't have the sun shining on your face. Have the sun shining on the eyeballs of them turkey. When hunting deer, turkey, or anything you hunt for that matter, always have the sun at your back. Have that sun pointing in the eyes of the quarry, the animal that you're pursuing, that you're hunting. Have them coming into the sun, and they're not going to see you as clearly and as easily. They're not going to pick you out if they're blinded by the bright sun. But if you have the sun on you and the gig's up, them turkey are going to spot you a mile away. They'll spot you probably more than 100 yards away for sure. You'll see that finger twitch and the blinking of your eyes way more. 100 yards away. They got that sun brightening, sun right in your face, giving yourself away. So it's a good idea to always set up the sun at your back, have all your gear and clothing washed, free of them UV brighteners and colors, and have a camo pattern that pretty much makes you disappear in the woods. So that was number 2 on the 5 traits and behaviors of eastern wild turkey that all turkey hunters need to understand to become a better turkey hunter. Hey, smash that like button for me, could you? Definitely subscribe to Spikes and Gills if you're not already. Click the notification bell if you're notified of all future uploads. It's great. Appreciate extra support. Follow. I'd like to see this channel blow up. It won't without your help, without your support, without you subscribing and clicking that notification bell and such. And definitely smash that like button. And number 3 on these 5 traits that I'm going to share with you is the fact that eastern wild turkey, they're a prey species, a prey animal. So naturally, God has made them to be extremely alert, attentive, and just an adept at fleeing and escaping danger and threats. So you've got to always remember that there's things out there that eat wild turkey that want to kill and eat them. Don't you think they know that? The gobblers, hens, the eastern wild turkey, they know that they're low on the totem pole when it comes to the food chain, and that they're a prey animal, and that there's coyotes, bobcats, and humans, and dogs and cats, you name it, and whatever, and hawks and eagles, things like that want to kill and eat them. Then you gotta figure young turkey, little poults, juvenile turkey, they could be killed and taken out by a big hawk or eagle. They could be killed very easily, stumbled upon. The poults, the baby turkey, they're built and prepared when they hatch. And poults, they stay hidden in the tall grasses and they don't move. They listen for the clucking and the purring, and they listen for the calls from the hen, their mother. They stay hidden until they hear the mother's calls, and then they'll come out and they'll head for mama. But they stay hidden. But like a bear, slumbering bear waking up in the spring, a bear is extremely hungry in the spring, and they're opportunistic when it comes to feeding. And a bear could stumble upon poults on the edge of a field that they're feeding nearby and eat a poult. And obviously the bobcat, coyote, hawks, eagles, humans, we're all predators of the turkey, and they know that there's a lot of things out there that could kill and eat them. So they have to be very alert. That's why they're built. Their physiology and biology of them is such that they can escape danger and potential threats pretty quickly and readily. They could fly up to a tree to escape danger. They can run extremely fast. Turkey run upwards of like 35 miles per hour. That's extremely fast for a bird running. They can run fast. They can fly to get away. They remember what I just mentioned earlier about their hearing and eyesight? They can hear potential danger and see potential threats and danger way long before that coyote or bobcat comes across. Oh, yeah, I didn't mention red fox. So red fox, bobcats, coyotes, humans, hawks, eagles, Raccoon. There's also the clutches. The clutches are prey for raccoons and weasels and such, things that love to eat eggs. So the turkey, the egg, the clutches, the eggs, poults, juveniles, jakes, are all they're prey animals, prey species. It's food for a lot of things out there in the woods. The turkey know that. They got to be alert and attentive and be able to flee from danger very quickly, very readily. So that the ability to hear exceptionally well, to be able to see exceptionally well, the ability to fly and run really fast allows them to flee danger very quickly, very readily. A hunter needs to know this, take all this into consideration when out there pursuing the turkey. You yourself is a threat to that turkey. You're like a predator to them. They know that they... And another thing too, if you listen to a lot of podcasts and research a lot about eastern wild turkeys' behaviors and traits and the biology and their makeup of turkey in general and how they can be, I've read and researched in this stuff that they don't forget humans. Like turkey, they might, like a passing bobcat, coyote or something like that, a fox, doesn't bother them quite as much as human disturbance, human presence. They won't forget where they saw humans, where humans scared them. They could disappear for a week or more, or longer from that area altogether because of human disturbance. Whereas maybe just a passing predator walk through the woods didn't scare them quite as much. They could be right back there in that same area the following day. But human disturbance scares them away more than anything. And they could stay away from that particular area upwards of a week or longer because of your disturbance. You scaring them. So you take all this to heart. Take all this into consideration before going after the turkey this spring. There's a lot. You want to learn everything about their hearing, their sight, the fact that they're a prey animal and they know it, and their ability, their traits and stuff to be able to flee from approaching danger and threats is super adept. The ability to run super fast, fly, the sight, hearing, all that. So take all this into consideration to make you a better hunter. So the fourth trait or behavior that the eastern wild turkey that I want to share with all of you to help you become a better turkey hunter is essentially the way they move about through their home ranges, move about the geographical features of the terrain that they live in their home range, the way they traverse the land, the way they move through and across the land. Understanding the way the turkey kind of walk and move and feed and go about, like gobblers going about their strutting and going to breed, going over to the hen that's yelping like way over there. All that, a hunter really understanding the way the turkey would prefer to move through the geographical features of the land that you're hunting will help you be that much more better equipped at your setup. Remember, setup is everything. When it comes to killing mature tom turkey, setup really is everything. Where your ambush spot is, that's really everything right there. That coupled with patience, woodswisemanship, patience, and just know-how, just knowing them birds and really honing in your calling tactics. So all that coupled together as a whole really is everything when it comes to shooting a big mature tom. But knowing how they like to move about in their home range is very important because it's going to help you pinpoint and hone in on that perfect setup, the perfect ambush spot, the spot to sit to kill that tom. So you're calling to a gobbler, right? You hear him gobbling about a couple hundred yards away. What you've got to take into consideration, what's between you and him for obstacles. Is there a ravine, a big steep ravine and ridges and plateaus and stuff between you and him? Do you think, you stop and think for a moment, and also you got to take all this into consideration when thinking of yourself. You and other animals, wild animals living in the forest, how would you, or deer, moose, bear, coyote, fox, turkey, how would a turkey want to go from point A to point B? You're there yelping, doing them calling. He's gobbling. he's answering you immediately, so you know he's interested in you. He wants to come to you, and his gobblers are getting closer and louder. He's coming. But looking and thinking about what's between you and him for obstacles. What could hang him up? A big steep ditch, gully, ravine, he's not going to want to cross. I don't know if you know this, but well, you probably do from research and turkey hunting and stuff. And from your own personal experiences, you probably know that gobblers are a lot of times reluctant to go downhill to a hen, to the calling origin. That it's always best to kind of be set up on the same plateau, same ridge line as a gobbler. Don't have any ravines, streams, rivers between you and him. No big rolling hills and mountains between you and him. Big boulders and ridges and rock walls, things like that. And just any kind of obstacle or structure between you and him could hang him up, make him stop, and just stay out there strutting and gobbling, hoping that you're going to come to him. The way the nature plays the game here is the gobblers put on their mating ritual display by fanning out, strutting and gobbling, attracting the hens to them. The hens pick and choose who they want to breed with, what gobbler they want to go mate with. And that's nature's way in the turkey world, the way they mate and breed. So if there's an obstacle or structure between you and him, it could hang him up, make him not close the distance for you to get that shot. Yeah, so you've located a gobbler. You know his whereabouts somewhat. And it's really wise to close the distance, to get as close as possible without alerting him, to eliminate all of them obstacles and structures, ravines, gullies, hills, boulders, tree, thick forest, anything like that could hang him up. You want to eliminate all those obstacles and structures between you and him so he'll close the distance to give you a shot. So the turkey, they prefer to walk along, traverse ridges, ridge tops, plateaus. They like to skirt tail deep bottom ravine areas and walk the edges of those ravines and staying on the ridge tops, along the ridge lines. Always scratching through the leaves and picking up acorns and things and nuts and other food items and stuff. And turkey, they love to walk fields edges. They can, at a moment's notice, they could be into cover to hide from oncoming threats, potential danger. And they love to walk them ridges, plateau, where there's rolling ridges, the ravines on either side. You've got that plateau sort of ridge jetting out on that saddle. They love to travel them saddles and ridge tops, flat plateaus and stuff. They love to travel those ridges, field edges. Another geographical feature or land feature that you want to pay attention to is old logging roads. Turkey are notorious for traveling the paths of least resistance, just like them weary deer. Deer are no different. Deer, moose, bear, coyote, all the wild animals out there in the forest, they love to travel the easiest paths, the paths of least resistance, meaning no obstacles of structure or anything that's going to make it harder for them to go from point A to B to wherever they want to go to. Obviously, an animal is going to skirt tail around a big steep ridge or rock wall, boulders, crevices, big ravine, really thick, impenetrable forest and stuff. Animals are going to avoid all those things and go around them. And instead of going through and over, they like the paths of least resistance. And so at turkey, they love old logging roads, dirt roads, old logging, skidder trails through old cuttings, 3-4-year-old clear cuts or selective cuts. All of them logging, skidder trails, logging roads and dirt roads. Turkey love to travel up and down. Gobblers will actually use the logging roads, dirt roads as strutting zones, places to strut, put on their mating ritual display, and drag the wingtips and gobble and stuff. And the hens, they love to travel the dirt roads. There's lots of feed for them up and down the edges and the ditches and ravines and stuff on either side of them dirt roads. And also, another thing is turkey love to dust bathe. Turkeys, gobblers, and hens alike, they create dust baths, if you will. They'll dig into the soft sand and dirt, spread onto their feathers to help rid themselves of mites and biting insects or anything that's bothering them, any type of insect that could be bothering them in their feathers. They'll dust bathe to help clean them feathers of ticks and fleas and other biting mites, insects. So now the fifth eastern wild turkey behavior or trait, if you will, that they exude, this coupled with the previous 4 behaviors and traits that the eastern wild turkey have and kind of show tail and stuff, that all of it together combined will help you be a better turkey hunter and help you tag more mature toms in the spring. So the fifth has to do with their vocalizations, the calls that hens and gobblers make. That pretty much you've got to think of volume. I myself have witnessed hens coming into my set where they're like, where they're clucking. They're actually making sounds and vocalizations that I never heard until the hen got within like 80, 60, 50 yards and even closer. And the same thing with gobblers. Gobblers, vocalizations and sounds that they make, a lot of them I never heard when they were out there far away. But as they closed the distance, got in close, I learned that their calling is very, very quiet. It's like the hens, a lot of times they're always that. You've got to realize wild turkey are constantly making some sort of noise or vocalization. They make hundreds of different sounds and vocalizations and they make so many vocalizations and calls that humans will never fully comprehend and understand, and actually humans will never be able to mimic. But if you have the good fortune of being able to like study wild turkey firsthand, maybe you have turkey of your own penned up on your property that you can study and monitor and observe day in and day out and listen to all their sounds and vocalizations they make. If you can learn to mimic, not like 80 plus, even if you can even learn to mimic 50% of the calls, sounds, and vocalizations that the eastern wild turkey make when they're out there in the wild talking to one another or trying to keep in touch and in contact with one another. So, and you'll be just that much better at calling them in, that much better of a turkey hunter. And you've got to think volume. And also calling very, very loudly is just not normal in the turkey world. Hens and gobblers, when their vocalizations are talking to one another, it's very low volume. We can hardly ever pick it up and hear it unless they're within like 50 yards or under in our set, wherever we're sitting at the moment. So you've got to take this into consideration with your calling approach. So low volume, 20-30% volume of the loudness of your call can make. Like the box calls, the pot calls, even the mouth, the diaphragm calls, when blown on and like scraped on and used loudly, they're ear-piercing, deafening loud. But 20-30% volume of that call makes is adequate enough. It's perfect for your call and approach. And you also have got to understand eastern wild turkey, hens and gobblers, they don't call constantly. They know when to be tight-beaked. They know when to be quiet. Obviously, they're a prey animal. There's things out there in the wild that want to kill and eat them, and they know that. And so when they when they think there's danger, a potential threat nearby, they're obviously going to be completely mute. They're not going to purr, cluck, and yelp and gobble and such. They know when to be quiet, and they're not constantly vocalizing. Now, it really helps when hunters can be out in the wild, hunting these eastern wild turkey, and have real live hens, real live jakes and gobblers, real live eastern wild turkey of all sexes around them that they can listen to all the calls and sounds they make, vocalization make. Many hens that have come into my approach, my set, they've come in kind of clucking every 2-3 steps. They'd walk 3, 4, 5 steps maybe, then they might go to feeding, and I notice too when hens are feeding, they kind of purring when they're doing like a 1-2 note yelp. And I've had hens nearby my blind or where I'm sitting doing this exact type of calling many a times. It's crazy. It's actually, I've lost count of how many hens I've called in or how many hens have come into my set wherever I'm sitting and turkey hunting. And I've been able to just listen to them. And they've all made the similar sounds, like real quiet, muted, like clucks and 2-note yelps. Wait. That is also known as covert calling, if you will. All the podcasts I listen to and stuff, and the research I've done on eastern wild turkey, it's said in these podcasts and things I've read up on wild turkey and stuff, and they're calling that covert calling is really where it's at. It's kind of the word, a phrase that these big wig turkey hunters, if you will, use for that soft, that 20-30% volume rate of calling. And also, it's just light clucking and light purring and 1 to 2 note yelping, 3 note at most yelps. So, and also too, you don't want to burn all your bridges. You don't want to utilize all of your calling tactics stuff all at once. You don't want to use like the big gun calls, you don't want to use the excited yelping and the excited cutting and the excited yelping that a hen ready to breed might make that could fire up a lone gobbler, satellite gobbler, something that's out there that's definitely very receptive to the calling that would come running right into that. You don't want to always use that approach right out of the gate. It's often better to kind of build it up. Start with that light covert calling, a little clucking and purring, a little 2-3 note yelping, and then just go from there. Do that, couple call sequences of that, and then maybe wait 20 minutes, do it again, another couple, 2-3 more call sequences of, the clucks, purrs, stuff. And then maybe go to a little bit longer yelps, louder, more a little tad bit, 6 more excited yelps, the 4. And just build it up. Because a lot of times turkey could be extremely close to where you're at. So that lighter, softer calling, it's a good bet. It's a good idea to start with that right out of the gate. So you're not busting them out of there. So you're not really alerting the gobblers and hens and stuff to your exact location. So you're not getting busted and blowing your hunt altogether. Start low and soft and wait it out. Wait 20-30 minutes. See if you hear anything or see anything before you call again and stuff. And then you might be able to go a little bit louder, 10% volume louder, turn it up a bit, and maybe do a little bit more excited calling at that time. So it's a good way to kind of go about your calling approach.